Welcome back to The Betrayed. I'm Gina Beck.
This is Drew Williams.
Thank you for listening, liking, commenting, and leaving reviews on Apple Podcasts. We love the feedback.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like always, I love seeing the hashtag banana cats. It makes my day.
Yeah, if you guys leave reviews on Apple Podcasts, we shout them out the next recorded podcast that we do. And if you would like to come on The Betrayed and tell your story, be sure to email us or go to our Instagram and Facebook and message us there. Our links are in the description below.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to DM me anytime. How are you, Gina?
I'm good. Merry Christmas. How are you?
Merry Christmas. I'm good. I don't normally always have Christmases because of my sickness, so being at one was pretty awesome. Just having all my cousins and stuff around. How was yours?
It was awesome. I got to see a bunch of happy kids and talk to my family, and it was good.
Yeah,
Got some cool gifts.
That whole thing you guys did for those kids was pretty amazing. It was cool seeing the feedback and everything.
Yeah, they were really excited. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Well, one thing I think we should talk about is this will be the last podcast of the year and the decade, which is kind of weird to think about. Yes, the end of a decade. I personally just wanted to recap my favorite moments, and I have 4. My number 1 was Paul's interview, because that was it just changed my perception on every law enforcement member. Watching everyone use banana cats, like just seeing it places, because it was just where it started from was so ridiculous, and then just seeing it implemented is hilarious. And then having Sway on, and then Shane's prank phone call. Shane's prank phone call was pretty gold.
All really good episodes, really great ones that I enjoyed as well. Not only did I enjoy those, but Jenna Shea's podcast, it resonated with me a lot. It was something for the women, and I thought that it was very, informative, and I think that Katie's was amazing as well. If you want to hear something that's really deep and real and emotional, just like it'll touch your heart. It really will. And then I think, Sway, I love all of them except for the first one. I don't love, but I'm glad that we are able to expose him in that way. But
and Stephanie too. Having Stephanie on was good too, because that was one of our first guests. So besides Sway, sorry Sway, no offense, bro.
And I'd like to thank all of our guests for coming on, and I appreciate you guys. And if you'd like to come on again, message us anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this is something I wanted to bring up. This happened in March 11th of 2019. The headline read this: Teenager's face skinned as she's raped on the way home from church. Her name was Christine Lee Salawan. She was 16 years old. The body of a teenager has been found with half of her face skinned off in Lapu-Lapu City of the Philippines, which is in Cebu. Her body was found in an empty lot in the morning. Police officer Lanoy Panoy told Cebu Daily City News that the young girl was found half naked and lying lifeless. Then on April 9th, a man turned himself in for the murder. His name was Renato Linez. He was 42, and he self-confessed to all of it. And he said that he filleted her face to help with misidentification, so she couldn't be identified with everything like that. And he actually lured her using a Facebook account, a fake account. And they had been talking for a couple months on and off. And yeah, he ended up...
What was his name one more time?
His name was Renato Panoban Liens. It's Lienes.
That's really interesting that you said that. I know that we hadn't talked about this prior, but a man named Khalil Weaver, he used a dating app called Tagged to lure in victims, and he killed 3 women using Tagged.
Interesting. It's kind of freaky that we're...
Yeah, he's called the 2019 serial killer.
Wow. No, this guy was in the Philippines. As far as I haven't been able to find a lot since he's been arrested as far as sentencing or anything like that. But I don't know if he was a serial rapist or killer, but that's freaky that there's more of them, out there doing all this dark stuff.
Yeah, this happened in New Jersey. He was found guilty on all counts in the murders of the three women and attempted murder of a fourth. The jury, they sat there for 2 hours on Thursday before convicting Khalil Weaver, who now faces a potential sentence of life plus 80 years in prison. He's 23 years old. He's from Orange County, California. He killed 20-year-old Sarah Butler, 33-year-old Joanne Brown, and 19-year-old Robin West. Happened in 2016, but he just got charged for it in 2019. He was also convicted of trying to kill another woman that year. Weaver was found guilty of murder. He was desecrating human remains, kidnapping, aggravated sexual assault, and aggravated arson. Excuse me. Yeah.
Wow. So he's just a real treat of a human being.
Yeah, he was a native of Philadelphia, whose body was found burned in an abandoned house as well. Brown's body was found in a vacant home in Orange County. All the murders took place between August and November of 2016. It's intense. And that it made me think, because of what you said with the app. You never know who you're talking to. And even if they are, because we have dealt with a lot of catching predators, stuff like that, but it could be anyone still on the other end of that app. Even if they're over age, you got to really look into who you're talking to.
Yeah,
and even if they don't have a background, you can just pick up signs. You get vibes of bad people.
yeah. In the article, he says, I used dummy Facebook accounts to lure Christine. We chatted frequently until we became a couple on Facebook.
Wow. See? Apps.
Yeah, scary, scary stuff.
Well, I wanted to talk about some, I came across this story on animal abuse of a dog. Someone named Stephen Kinder, 42, he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound on February 7th after several complaints had surfaced regarding the treatment of animals at his business. So he owned a business. Have you heard of the Kinder Kinder Association? It's like a vet. It's a big organization.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. But and he was someone associated with that entire group?
He was associated with Kinder Dog Training, located at the Cleveland Bradley Business Incubator on Adkeson Drive near Cleveland State Community College. He operated the business with his wife, Morgan Kinder, who was indicted in August on 6 counts of aggravated animal cruelty and 6 counts of animal cruelty by a Whitfield County grand jury.
Sorry, everyone. We're talking about dogs, and my dog's in the background making a ton of noise. Sorry.
Speaking of dogs, Winter Dog Brody. Sometimes you guys hear him in the background. He's on Instagram. Little shout out for him.
Sorry for cutting you off. It was just super loud.
No, it's okay. They might not even hear it. If you do, though, that's his dog.
It's Lola.
But Kinder, what's her name?
Lola.
Want to tell them again? I know it, but maybe
yeah,
you want to
Lola.
tell them again.
If you look at my Facebook account, the black dog, it's Lola.
Yeah, cutie. Kinder had been arrested, though, 3 days earlier on 4 counts of cruelty to animals. He was later released after posting a $12,000 bond. Excuse me. The arrest stemmed from a complaint by an Atlanta woman who alleged Kinder mistreated her dog when it was in his possession to receive training. So he owns a dog training business. He was watching over a lot of these dogs. A lot of complaints came in, and it turned out to be true. He got caught. He got sentenced, found guilty, and then he killed himself February 7th.
This is going to sound really cruel, but it sounds like he saved taxpayers a lot more money.
I'd honestly say the same thing, but yeah.
I mean, I'd say what a sick fuck. That's
Yeah,
sad.
really.
You take you. I mean, most people that love animals, they're part of their family, and you can trust someone like that. You just pay someone to abuse your dog. That's terrible.
I agree 100%. Disgusting.
Well, that kind of leads us into a topic that everybody is kind of talking about, it seems like, because of Netflix, and it's really weird that it took this long for even a good documentary to come out. Did you watch Don't Fuck with Cats?
I did. After you recommended it, I didn't right away, but then I did about 2 nights ago, and I kind of fell asleep. So I woke up the next morning and I finished from where I remembered where I left off. And wow, I have a lot of thoughts and opinions. Where do we start?
I think this is something people need to realize. This is not a recent case. I've been following this for like probably a decade. I don't know, somewhere around there. It's old. I mean, it's the documentary makes it seem like it happened in the last few years, and it didn't. It happened quite a while ago, and it didn't make headlines that much here at all, even after he got caught and things like that. This is the first documentary I've seen that's done very, very well on him.
For a bunch of people that were in a group on Facebook and did what they did, the documentary is amazing. Very well put together. The people with Netflix who had helped them obviously did great, especially like with so many screenshots. With that's so much. Like, you know, I know of filing internet stuff, filing text messages, filing emails, keeping everything organized, and it is hard. So this happened 10 years ago. It went on for a very, very long time. I mean, they had so much to go through, and I just couldn't imagine the hard work put into that documentary.
We should probably describe for those who don't know. There's a documentary on Netflix called "Don't Fuck with Cats," and it is about animal abuse, but it's so much deeper. The case is just absolutely horrific. Everyone should watch it. He was a guy that was abusing animals online, posting videos, and then a group of web sleuths started following him and figured out where he was. They kind of warned people that he was going to do other things, and then he ended up killing a person on film. And I unfortunately actually have watched the video because I used to be into like rotten.com and all those type of things. So before he was caught, that video was floating around. I don't recommend anyone to go look for it. It's hell on film. It's disgusting. It's way worse than even the clips they show of him abusing animals in the documentary. And that's something, if you can't handle, you might not want to watch this 3-part documentary, because the first hour, I mean, it does show him playing with dead kittens and things like that.
Personally, I have not watched any of those movies, and I do not plan to. But something that I can say is what I resonated with what Body said, right? Is it Body?
Yeah.
Something that I resonated with is her and John, they both had mentioned if they had egged him on to do it more, if they had given him the views to do it more, if they had given him the attention that he wanted to continue, or if he would have done it anyway. Something that he obviously was seeking, that you could tell right away, was attention. But I think that someone of that, like, I don't know, he had such a imaginative mind. I feel like he would have done it until he got the attention, even if he didn't get it right away. So he would have kept on doing it. So something, because they didn't have a rebuttal to what they said. They just said they wonder if it was their faults that he continued. And I have to say no. I don't think it's their faults at all. And I bet a lot would agree. He would have done it either way.
Oh yeah, I mean, once you watch this documentary, if you dig into it, there's a podcast called Sword and Scale, and they also have an episode on it that goes a little bit more detail into the actual crime. It's absolutely horrific. It's crazy. The parallels that I thought, and that's why I wanted you to watch it, was when he was talking about like the Facebook groups and finding information and all the chiming, and I was like, oh, this reminds me of predator hunting. There was just some things about it. I was just like, wow. I can remember those nights, like digging for information, not finding anything, and then waking up in the morning and someone found something. And
all I kept thinking was, man, they really gave all these like Facebook investigators a documentary. That is so badass, because you know how much work it goes. Like, it might sound silly. I say it to sound silly, a Facebook investigator, but there is so much work that goes into internet, like searching and finding things, and how they explain in depth and in detail how they find certain things and how they use Google Maps, walking down streets in Canada to find the steps that he was at, and then Googling different.
When they even went deeper, they started talking about the metadata from all the images, .ext stuff, where they were finding GPS locations and things like that. It was
very, very smart group of people that had found each other through the power of the internet, gotten together, didn't like what they saw, and made it a mission to take him down, and they did. And also, I love the movie Catch Me If You Can. I grew up watching it over and over and over and over. So Luka, like, looking up to that movie and then telling the Facebook group people, catch me if you can, and then at the end how he's like, oh, we caught you, bitch. I was just like, yeah, like, because that movie I would just watch so many times, and so it cracked me up when. Okay, first of all, Luka was very lonely, obviously, growing up. He turned to movies rather than friends. And all of these movies that his mom probably just had laying around because they were older, like, horror, serial killer kind of movies, something that your kid shouldn't be watching, but until like a certain age. But he did. And instead of doing sports and stuff like that, he looked up to these men in these movies and even the women, and he wanted to be just like them. So his mind was full of imagination, even getting older.
Yeah, that was something for me personally, because I've been following the case for so long. I have never actually seen an interview with any of his family members, and she wasn't what I expect. I thought she would be a little more embarrassed of her kid. I mean, she straight up blamed what did she call them, fake web sleuths or something like that for busting her son and causing him to do these things, and it's like,
She blamed Manny Lopez, the made up man that Luca had made up that was making Luca do
oh,
all these
his
things.
handler, right?
Yeah, she was still going on with that story. Even at the end when it was all confirmed bullshit, excuse my language, but like it was, she still carried on to like, leave my boy alone. Typical mom, I feel like that doesn't want to believe what had happened would do, and it's sad. But at the same time, her compared to the rest of it, it just seemed like, she's gonna get a lot of
Well, I
a lot of hate.
look at like because there's a lot of interviews with Jeffrey Dahmer's dad, and he admits like he loves his son, but I mean he knows his son was sick, twisted, horrible, horrible, horrible things. I mean, he doesn't paint it like she does. She still paints him like he's this little innocent angel, and I mean I get it.
Exactly.
It's her kid. It's probably her only
Yeah.
kid, but
Yeah, it seemed like it.
and it's probably something to do with the human psyche, because when you're the mother knowing that you birthed a monster like that, I can't even imagine what that does to
Right.
your own psyche.
What was your favorite part of the documentary that stood out the most to you?
Seeing the people finally behind everything that like got like that's really what I like. I loved seeing all of them, and then like what you brought up, their whole reaction of still feeling like they're guilty, and it was just a real different way of looking at the entire case that I had never, because everything was always focused around Luca, and it didn't, that it was like a bad way of not focusing around him. They explained everything about him, but I liked that they opened it up with talking about the animal abuse and all that, and I like how it leads to everything, because the animal abuse is just as cruel. It's just he actually did it to a human, which we have way more laws against. So
Yeah, and what also resonated with me when Body, aka Cassandra, is her real name, right?
yeah,
Cassandra, she said in her interview, she mentioned how the police would just think that this is some internet mumbo jumbo hoo ha or whatever, just drama, whatever. And yeah, they would initially think that, especially with, hearing about animal abuse, and then, but they told them, it was like an I told you so moment. And I love how every time they kept track of everything, and the police pages and what they're posting in the news, and they were using the people that they had in their group that they trusted to push this out and try to get this as much attention as possible, so he could get caught. People just needed to listen.
it's I mean that's what I said. The parallels, some of the things that happened to them, I was just like, this sounds like G and the rest of everybody that dealt with the police one-on-one had to deal with. Nobody wants to believe anything. Nobody takes anything seriously, and it's, I mean, thank God they kept at it, because like you said, he would have kept doing stuff. I mean, who knows how many more of those movies? They suspect he would have made at least three more human snuff films, because he did three animal abuse ones. Well,
Disgusting.
technically,
Yeah.
I guess technically he did four, because he abuses a puppy, and
Oh yeah.
I don't even want to say the name of it because I don't want people to go look it up. Yeah, he abuses a puppy too in that, because they found the puppy in the bag, in the trash bag.
Well, the best part to me was when the police came in the internet cafe and got that. And they also I love how John was able to get the footage from the internet cafe. And can you imagine being in their shoes and seeing that posted? Like, I can just, because I know the feelings when we get like an email confirming something, or like, or the confirmation of an arrest or a conviction or something like that, like those feelings. So get the feeling of having the footage of seeing all that line of men walking in, arresting him, and then just gradually walking out. Like, how satisfying would that be? Just all that month's work, finally for him to be caught, and you get the footage of it.
It's why it made such a good documentary. They had so much stuff to work with, and the story doesn't even seem real. Really, everyone, if you're looking for something serious to watch and you can stomach it, go watch Don't Fuck with Cats. It's good.
Do you know where Luka is now?
I believe he's in Canadian prison because all the
Well,
crimes happened there. So
since imprisonment, he has married a fellow inmate named Anthony Jolin and reportedly enjoys movie nights, team sports, and language classes, according to the Montreal Gazette. He continues to deny several of the allegations against him, claiming he never killed kittens and that he is not as captivated by attention as people say. But he also argued unstable internet stalkers started the rumor that he dated serial killer Carla Homolka,
yeah,
although a pre-child, you know her?
she's most Americans don't, but she was a part of a couple. It was a they were a serial killing couple, and that's people
Mm.
think that he may have been like obsessed with her.
Although a pre-trial psychiatric report revealed that he admitted to making up the relationship to seem tougher, reported the National Post. He thinks society is sick, not him, Whitney said. He feels, or at least says, that people are obsessed with him, constantly making things up, gossiping about him, etc. While Whitney acknowledged that the book contributes to him again being the star, he does not believe it benefits any of us to just ignore things that makes us uncomfortable or disturb us. I look at interviews with criminals of any sort as an opportunity for all of us to understand how and why people do what they do, and that hopefully can help us combat such things as as a society in the future, Whitney told the National Post. Don't fuck with cats.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
didn't I didn't know that. I'm glad you dug into that. I haven't really heard much about him since he got sentenced and everything like that. But he's in Canadian prison, so he's in Montreal, so he's in Quebec, so I'm sure it's nothing like American prison.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's probably like not to say it's a walk in the park, but comparatively what happens to people like him in our prison system, I'm sure it's nothing like that.
no. It's got to be completely different. But that's all I have on that, really. I just think it's a very good watch. I think it's insane. My opinion is I'm glad that he was caught. And that's a lot of hard work to spend all that time on the internet.
Yeah, I'm proud to see that that team actually got the spotlight for once. Like it's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, it was really cool. I want to go into a story. Let's get off the killing kittens subject and go into a serial killer. I know I just talked about one, but another one had died in a state prison. He was convicted. He was a convicted kidnapper, rapist, and murderer. Lawrence Bitaker, one of the two Los Angeles County toolbox serial killers, died of natural causes last week at San Quentin State Prison. The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation announced Monday. He was 79. He died at 4 p.m.
Yeah,
It was disgusting. He had raped, kidnapped, tortured, and murdered 5 teenage girls between June 24th and November 20th. They were known as the Toolbox Killers. Have you heard of them?
oh yeah, I mean that made big news here when he died finally here. All the news
Oh, yeah?
stations covered it. Yeah, I mean I don't personally remember because I think those crimes happened in the 80s, didn't they?
1979 it
Yeah, okay,
happened.
yeah. So I wasn't even born yet, but I I can there's been people, it's California, all those serial killers get talked about.
Yeah, they used screwdrivers, vice grip, pliers, and other tools to kill their victims. The victims were Lucinda Lynn Schaefer, 16, Andrea Joy Hall, 18, Jacqueline Doris Gilliam, 15, Jacqueline Leah Lamp, 13, and Shirley Lynette Ledford, 16. The bodies of Schaefer and Hall were never found, though. Whittaker was convicted in Los Angeles County on all 26 counts against him, including murder, kidnapping, criminal conspiracy, rape, oral copulation, and sodomy. He was sentenced to death on March 22nd, 1981, and was admitted to death row on March 30th, 1981. He pleaded guilty on all counts, and in exchange, prosecutors did not seek the death penalty. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, he's I mean, I'm glad he's gone finally.
Well,
He
since California reinstated the death penalty in 1978. 82 condemned inmates have died from natural causes. 27 committed suicide. 13 were executed in California. 14 have died from other causes, and 4, including partaker, are pending a cause of death. There are 729 offenders on California's death row.
Yeah,
That's
death row is pretty big in California, and they can stay on it for quite a long time because I forget, it depends on their crimes, but they get so many appeals before it actually goes through.
Wow, and that happens such a long time ago. So that's insane.
Charles Manson, he was locked up for so long before he passed away too. I mean, a lot of those guys.
Good, they should be. If I'm not gonna say what I want to say, but good, they should be.
Yeah, exactly. We'll leave it at that.
So this is pretty interesting. I don't know if you've heard of this, but a woman set to marry death row serial killer who sliced off his own penis.
It's not the guy from Wu-Tang that did it?
His name is Nico Jenkins. He has been handed a death sentence. I don't think he's from Wu-Tang.
Yeah, no. But yeah, one of the Wu-Tang Clan members from the West Coast cut his own dick off. But
yeah, she said to marry him. And yeah, he's a serial killer. Like,
well,
what goes through some of these women's minds?
There's a lot of them. If you look around, there's like a weird fetish with
There's too many. Yeah, it's weird. He sliced off his own, on death row after he killed 4 people on a 10-day shooting spree in Nebraska.
Wow.
Like, her name is Dawn Arguello. She fell in love with Nico Jenkins while volunteering for an inmate advocacy group as he waits to be executed. Like, could you imagine just like going to this group supposed to be helping? Like, I see that in movies a lot, but that really does happen, like, where you're like supposed to be helping these people and fall in love.
I'm sure
like,
it
really?
happens
Obviously.
way more. Yeah, well, obviously, it probably happens way more often than we even think about it.
That's so unprofessional.
Really, put it lightly. I'll be marrying our serial killers, like.
Yeah, well, back in 2015, Jenkins tried to make his penis look like an ancient god, Apophis. Do you know what that is?
An ancient god? The ancient god what?
Apophis?
Apophis?
Yeah, am I saying it wrong?
I don't know. I'd have to look at the spelling.
Apophis.
Apophis? I'd have to see the relation to which religion it's from, like which culture, but he made it look like that?
Yeah.
That's what I was laughing at.
It looks like a giant snake, I guess, but his self-mutilation went wrong. Just weeks before, he had attempted to carve 666 onto his own forehead, but forgot he was looking in a mirror and scraped 999 instead. How? Okay,
was he upside down?
I don't know. No, the reflection, But the convicted murderer also tried to slice his tongue like a snake. What is up with these? They are really bored and smeared the blood all over his cell walls.
People do a lot. They got nothing else but time on their hand. They get, just start splitting their tongues and
they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to use this no more." Chop. Yeah.
If we ever have Sway back on, you should have him tell you stories about the paper mache unicorns that are made in state prison here.
I will, for sure. We'll have to write that down. The killer says he acts under the voice commands of a serpent god, but like psychiatrists are split on whether is he a genuine schizophrenic. Miss Arguello, the woman that wants to marry him, she does not appear to be put off by Jenkins at all. Not his history or anything. However, she is annoyed he has had her name tattooed on his face. She told Obama World Herald he's not what the media has made him out to be. He's an enigma. He has feelings, he's very sensitive, he's very intelligent, and yes, he's very manipulating. In August, Jenkins went on a killing spree, shooting and killing Juan Yerby Pena and Jorge Cajija Ruzion using a sawn-off 12-gauge shotgun. Their bodies were found inside a pickup truck in southeast Omaha, and this happened days after he was released from a 10-year prison sentence for 2 carjackings and 2 assaults. So he's just a troublemaker and a self-mutilating troublemaker.
Wow.
8 days later, Jenkins killed Curtis Bradford, a man he knew from prison. And he later shot Andrea Kruger 4 times before taking off in her car. Jenkins is convicted of 4 counts of the first-degree murder after he killed 4 people over 10 days. Wow, what a catch.
Well, lucky lady.
Yeah, I hope the wedding is great, right? So weird.
I don't even know what to say to that. It's just, I mean, that's what she wants. I mean, he's locked up, so whatever.
Right. And if you guys want to look him up, I'll leave the description in the link below. You guys should check him out. His tattoos and everything. It's pretty interesting to see what this guy looks like in his story yourself, if you would like to.
Yeah.
So that's all that we have for today. Thank you guys for listening, liking, commenting, and subscribing and leaving reviews on our Apple Podcast. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Merry Christmas. We're recording this on Christmas. You're going to hear this in the next couple of days. And we'll talk to you guys in the new year. Love y'all. Banana cats.
Much love. Happy New Year. Peace.